Just heard a ding in the background. Welcome, everybody, to Supernatural Saturday for August 9th. Glad you could make it. Those of you who are on the live stream here in my Telegram channel, welcome to the live stream. And to those of you who are listening on replay, thanks for joining. I'm Praying Medic, host of Supernatural Saturday. We've been doing these live streams, Supernatural Saturday shows, gosh, for a long time. I'm going to say more than 10 years. I think we started doing these in 2014 when I was just doing podcasting. Was I doing YouTube videos? I don't remember. You could probably find some old YouTube videos with the old Supernatural Saturdays. But anyway, I have been doing these live streams once a month on the second Saturday of every month at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you're able to navigate your way over to Telegram and you want to join us on the live stream, get on the mobile app or get on the desktop version and get your microphone. I don't know if there are a lot of people joining who are able to ask questions from the desktop. I think you probably can, but I haven't tried it. I try to do spaces from the desktop on X, and it's a mess. But you're always welcome to join us on the live stream. This is going to be a question and answer session. So ask me anything, politics, stuff about Q, things about God and his kingdom and healing and deliverance and emotional trauma and anything that goes. I'm not afraid of taking tough questions. Last couple of months when I'm done with the live stream, Denise is like, wow, those are some pretty tough questions. I'm like, yeah, there were some tough questions, but if I don't have an answer, I don't have an answer. But I'll always try to give you a reasonable answer if I have one. All right. So for those of you who are kind of new to the platform, new to me, you can find my books, articles, podcasts, all of my information on one of two websites, prayingmedic.com and prayingmedic.org. We have two websites. Prayingmedic.com is the catch-all. My Q-related information is there. My books are there. I have some classes. I do have two classes. One is a divine healing class, and the other is Seeing in the Spirit. If you hit on the classes tab, that'll take you to those pages. They're video-based classes, about 12 hours of video where I walk you through the nuts and bolts of physical healing. And then the other class is how to see in the spirit if you want to see visions and see into the spiritual realm. So those are on prayingmedic.com. Again, if you have trouble accessing my podcast, all of my live streams are archived on my podcast, on my Podbean podcast page. But you can also go to prayingmedic.com and hit the podcast tab. And there is a place there where you can listen to all of my podcasts, and you can download them onto your computer or your phone if you want to save them for future reference. So prayingmedic.com has all my resources. Prayingmedic.org is the ministry website. So we have information there on healing, physical healing, emotional healing, deliverance, a lot of videos, some articles. It's mostly videos, some testimonies of people that have been healed. If you have a prayer request, you can email me through either of those websites. There's a contact page. Just hit the contact page, put in your correct email. Every week I get somebody who puts in an incorrect email. They usually have the domain messed up. So put in your email, put in your prayer request, send it to me, and I'm pretty good about getting on the prayer requests. I'll usually get back to you within 1 or 2 days. I answer all my emails in person. I don't have an assistant who does my emails. If you ask for prayer, I will pray for you in person, and I'll reply to you. And then also, if you're new to the platform, our ministry does accept financial support. So we have a nonprofit ministry. The reason why I'm not working on the ambulance anymore, hauling psychiatric patients around the valley, is because Denise and I have a full-time ministry. Our ministry is an online ministry where we do training and equipping the saints for the work of ministry, teaching people about physical healing, emotional healing, deliverance, how to interpret their dreams, how to see in the spirit, how to see visions, training and equipping leaders to advance God's kingdom. That's what we do through books and videos and podcasts. And we accept financial support. So on the prayingmedic.org website, there is a link there where you can find our Give, Send, Go page, which is where we accept online financial support. You can go there and make a donation with a debit card or credit card. It's not the most smooth functioning website, but they're doing what they can. It's one of the only payment portals still available for us that has not shut us down. We've experienced a lot of debanking, deplatforming over the last 8 years, and Give, Send, Go has literally kept our ministry alive. We were going to shut the doors years ago because we weren't able to take donations from anyone. They shut us all down. And then Give, Send, Go came online, and we were able to receive donations there. So if you want to support us financially, you can do that on Give, Send, Go. We also accept prayer requests, and we accept donations by check through snail mail. You can send a letter to Praying Medic. The address is 137 East Elliott Road, P.O. Box number 2292, Gilbert, Arizona 85299. We had a couple of people who said, "Hey, thanks for giving me your address," and they sent us a check for a donation. So it was very nice. We greatly appreciate all the financial support from everyone. Couldn't be doing this without you. The reason I'm able to do what I love doing is because of your financial support. So thank you very much for all of your support. Denise, thanks you. All right. So this is, like I said, this is going to be a question and answer session. We typically go 1.5 to 2 hours. This is not a platform for prayer requests. If you have a prayer request, put it in the channel, in the chat. Type out your prayer request, and we will be praying for you. If you go to your post in the chat channel, you'll see a bunch of prayer emojis, the little praying hand emojis. They'll show up on your post. That tells you how many people are praying for you. So even if no one responds directly to your prayer request in the channel, the number of prayer emojis that show up on your post tells you how many people in the channel are praying for you. If I see it, I will usually respond to you. I don't always see them because, well, I'm doing a lot, including writing books. I'll get to that in a minute. So the live stream, the question and answer is going to be question and answer. This is not a place to vent your frustration and anger over people not being arrested or whatever else is bothering you. If you have frustrations and you want to vent whatever, post it in the chat or something. This is a time for people who have questions that I can answer. If you have prayer requests, put them in the chat. We'll pray for you. And now a word from our sponsor. All right. Opturius, Beneath a Crimson Sky. Dave has finally broken into the science fiction genre. Yes, so we published our first science fiction novel. A work in progress over the last 2.5 years. God gave me a dream that included this entire storyline. And when I got the dream, I thought, wow, this could be like a trilogy. It's such a long storyline. So over the last 2.5 years, I've been working on the manuscript. And it's come together. I think it's a really good story. All right. Well, full disclosure, somewhat inspired by C.S. Lewis. If you've read any of C.S. Lewis's books in his space trilogy, Out of the Silent Planet, Pearlandra, and then That Hideous Strength. I read those books, and the book that really got my attention was Pearlandra. I love that book. Great world building, good storytelling. The way that he brings out, C.S. Lewis brought out Ransom, the main character, and the female character there on Pearlandra, the interaction between them is great. I really love that story. And so Opturius is loosely based on some of the concepts found in Pearlandra. But one of the things I didn't like about C.S. Lewis's portrayal of life on alien planets was actually in the first book, Out of the Silent Planet, where Ransom visits Mars, Malacandra, as it's called in the series. And Ransom has to go through some mountain ranges. In Lewis's portrayal of Ransom going through the mountains, icy, cold mountains, it just wasn't very realistic to me. And so in this story, in Opturius, the main character is a mountaineer by profession. That's what he does. He's a mountaineering guide, backcountry guide. He is kidnapped and taken to a planet billions of miles from Earth. And he's taken there because he has a special skill set that no one else has that is needed to navigate this not uninhabited, unexplored planet of Opturius. And he gets put through the meat grinder, going and exploring the mountains, the plateaus, and the deserts of Opturius. There's a lot of world building in this story. I tried to make the world building both awe-inspiring and realistic. Adam, the main character, goes through a lot in this story. There's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of valleys, peaks and valleys, literally and metaphorically. It's a really good story. I really like the way that it came out. A lot of thanks to my editor, Lydia, for slogging through the editing process in this novel with me for my first science fiction novel. She was instrumental in helping, especially in the poetry chapter. Yes, there is a chapter that is just a poem that we wrote. My idea, and she helped refine it because, well, Lydia actually loves poetry. My editor, used to write poetry quite a bit, and she has a degree in literature and professional writing. And I'm really happy with the way that the prose in this book turned out. There's a lot of interesting literary techniques in the book. If you like classic literature, I think this book will hit you in the feels in a good way. So I will, the book is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all the usual ebook outlets. Next week, it's going on sale. The ebook is going to be on sale next week. So let's see, probably starting on Monday, we're going to run a sale on the ebook. It'll be just about free for a while. All right. Without further ado, let's get to the hands. Do people have hands? So here's the deal. If you have a question on the mobile app, raise your hand. There's a little button there to raise your hand. And then when I unmute you on my end, you have to unmute yourself and then speak. So I'm going to go to the hands and we'll see what is shaking. What's going on? Donna Mason. Donna, if you can unmute yourself, do you have a question this morning? Donna, are you there? Oh dear. Here we go. You have to hit the little button on the mobile app for the microphone. You also have to go into your phone's settings if you haven't done this yet and allow mobile apps to have access to your microphone as another step you have to do. All right, Donna, we'll come back to you later. All right, let's see. Not admin, you have your hand up. What's going on? This is the fun part. Some people will put up their hand inadvertently, don't even realize their hand is up, and they don't actually have a question. And other people want to ask a question, and they can't seem to get the mic to work. All right. We'll come back to you later. Ann Tankersley. Ann, you found out how to get on Telegram. Can you unmute yourself and ask a question? Oh, you know what? Hang on a second. Hang on a second.
I think I did it.
Ann?
Do you hear me now?
Yep, I hear you now.
Oh, okay. I finally got through.
Hey, welcome to the live stream.
Thank you. I've been listening to you since you were just a voice on air. So it's been over a decade probably.
Wow, that's a long time. And your name is familiar. I think you've probably emailed me a few times.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to you about I think we sent a prayer request back when my daughter-in-law had an accident in Idaho. It was 9 years ago, and she and my grandchildren were T-boned, and as a result of the accident, the two granddaughters healed well, but Rachel had a traumatic brain injury,
okay.
And she's been dealing with it. This isn't a prayer request, but I just wanted to give you the history of it.
Okay.
She has been dealing with the right side of her body not working well in her speech, and my son, as a result of it, has PTSD, just dealing with her injuries. And then recently she has falls occasionally, and during a fall she broke something in her foot and has had 2 surgeries now to try to fix the foot. And it's on the bad side of her body, luckily. But anyway, I wanted to ask you, because before that accident, God gave me a vision, and it was of I was driving in the van, and I just get these one frame visions, and it was of a huge pickup hitting the side of my van. And I remember crying out to God then, and I don't know how I prayed, but I just headed for home immediately, but I cried out to God, and I don't know the meaning of the vision. If there was something more I should have done, because they got hit. They had a van and a big pickup hit the side.
Okay.
Hit the side of the van. And was there something I should have known more than what I did?
I don't think so. So you had a single scene snapshot vision of a pickup truck hitting your van.
Yeah, huge pickup.
And your instinctive reaction was to pray.
Yes.
That's exactly what you're supposed to do. And you should not feel any guilt or feel like you didn't do enough or you should have done something different. This is not your fault.
That's good to know. I know that I keep thinking that maybe I keep thinking we're blessed that they all live. I mean, when they came upon the emergency workers came upon the accident, they didn't even see the 1-year-old because she was covered with metal.
Right.
Her car seat broke the leg of the older granddaughter, and the one that was wrapped in the metal had to have her neck fused, and we had her down in Salt Lake City because that's where the children's hospital was. I mean, they could have all died. And I
They
think
could have.
that's the main thing is they live.
Yeah.
But
Well, they lived, and there's a process for healing. So your son or son-in-law, I'm not sure what his, if he's your,
my son,
has he gone through emotional healing yet?
I think I have given him one of your books. I don't right now. He's just kind of locked. He's kind of shocked by all the. I mean, they were supposed to come here and visit, but he can't even deal with coming across the state of. We live in Oregon, and he can't deal with coming and having to go to rest stops with her in a wheelchair now.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
he's in pretty bad shape.
yeah. Obviously, one thing that would help him immensely with the PTSD is if he could go through the emotional healing process.
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily have to read the book. On my Rumble channel, I have a 9-minute video where I walk people through the process of emotional healing. It's very effective. And if he could just listen to the video for 9 minutes and go through the steps of identifying the emotions that he's dealing with, giving them to Jesus, asking Jesus to heal them, he can be healed. Of course, the problem is, people have to want to be healed. And you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So, I would, my suggestion is to continue to offer or gently encourage your kids and the grandkids to go through the emotional healing. The kids probably need it too. You can take children through emotional healing as well. Process is very similar. You can, make it more of a game for kids if that makes the process easier. But, with your daughter, I mean, if you continue praying and just continue to release the power of God into her body to heal the brain, heal the nervous system, she can eventually be healed and be normal again.
That'll be great.
But it's a process. I prayed for about 1.5 years straight for this friend of mine who had Lou Gehrig's disease. He was paralyzed in a bed on a ventilator. He had Lou Gehrig's disease for 5 years. Tube feedings, could not move a muscle in his body. And when I went to visit him at the nursing home, I transported him periodically, but sometimes I would just go. If I dropped somebody off at the nursing home where he was, his name was Scott. You've probably heard his story. I would go into Scott's room and just pray over him for 10 or 15 minutes, just releasing the power of God into his body, month after month over the course of about 1.5 years. And then one day I went into the nursing home and his wife, Georgianne, met me. She said, "Dave, you're not going to believe what happened today." I said, "What?" She said, "Scott drank coffee and had some food for breakfast this morning, pizza. He had some pizza and drank coffee." After being on a ventilator, having on tube feeds for years, he slowly started to get back the nervous system, the muscles that had atrophied. They were healing, but it was a long process to get him to that point. And it's really a matter of determination and not giving up. You can get anyone healed of any condition if you just continue hammering and hammering and hammering away at it and don't give up.
Okay. We will do that.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks, Ann.
Okay.
Yep.
Bye.
All right. Let's see. Turbear, if you can unmute yourself, what's on your mind this morning? Turbear, are you there? You have to hit the mute button on the mobile app. All right. Maybe not. All right. Carolyn Setters. Carolyn, you have your hand up. If you can unmute yourself, what's on your mind this morning?
Well,
I hear you.
it's okay. Okay, I should be. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I have a question about, well, I'm not sure. How do you and Denise, I know you don't belong to like an organized church, or that's I'm assuming that from what you've said. So how
Right.
do you and Denise like praise and worship? Is it spontaneous? Do you have a set time? Anyway, yeah, you.
We belong to a disorganized church. Actually, you know, it's funny. Denise has finally, after 30 years, gotten back into painting. And so she's got a little studio over on the other side of the house where she's got her canvases and her paints. And I go over there periodically, and she's got praise and worship music on, or she's listening to a sermon, or, you know, we do that kind of thing spontaneously.
Mm-hmm.
When she's in the mood, she'll put on some, you know, praise and worship music. You know, that's her mojo, her thing. I have my thing. So we don't do this, the corporate, everybody, you know, packed into our house with dozens of people. It's our ministry is an online ministry, but it's really primarily, like I said, training and equipping the saints to do the work of ministry, to do this stuff. We here, it's just me and Denise.
Okay.
We're hobbits. We live in our little house. She does painting. I write books, and we worship God. At whenever the Lord leads us to that experience. So yeah, that's our experiences is quite a bit different from that of most people.
Well, it sounds a lot like our experience, because we left organized religion, I don't know, 20 some years ago, maybe. And our entire family actually did. I'm talking about actually my sister's family. Well, they actually got kicked out of a church because their beliefs were a little bit more conservative than what the church was, you know, teaching or preaching. And
Okay.
they wanted to follow the Bible, and they felt that's what they needed to do. So, but
Yeah,
I actually have one of Denise's pictures hanging right above my left shoulder here where I'm sitting.
Oh.
And I'm waiting for more. That's another second question. Is she
all right
with more?
She's working on a new painting.
Oh, good.
She's actually working on a bunch of different things, but she's got a very wide painting. It's, I think, 47 inches wide, 27 inches tall. It's a horizontal work. It's abstract and really vibrant colors that she's working on. It's actually, she's doing it at the request of a potential client. We don't know if this client is going to buy the painting. That client is going to get first right of refusal if the client doesn't actually want the painting, because she bought the canvas to fit a specific area in this woman's house. And the woman said, I'd like something like this. And Denise said, I don't really do commissions, but I'll do a painting that size. And if you want it, you can buy it. And if you don't want it, she'll put it up for sale.
Okay.
So she'll have more things on the website soon for prints and originals and things.
Yeah, I've been watching.
Yep. She's well, the funny thing is, when there's a lot of news breaking, Denise is just a news addict. When there's breaking news, things that are happening, a grand jury is being impaneled to investigate Spygate and all this stuff. She's glued to the phone, scrolling to see to keep up on current events. So when there's a break in the news, then Denise gets to go back to her studio and start painting again. Here she's sneaking up on me now.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about you.
You have to remind everyone that I also work on your books.
Oh.
When a book is coming
Well,
out, I'm doing
and yeah.
layouts.
So when we do the book publishing, Denise usually is into that book project for a couple of weeks, doing the layout, doing the fitting. She's the editor for most of our spiritual books. So it's not like she's just sitting around her phone on the couch all day long doing nothing. She manages books. She does all of our banking. She does all of our records keeping. Like I said, she edits our books. She does the cover designs, and interior files, and all that. So she works a lot on these projects. And every once in a while, she gets to sneak over into the studio and work on a painting or two. So that's really what her workflow is.
Well, I wondered if you had been keeping her too busy.
Well, because we're publishing a lot of books, she has been very busy working on these book projects. Like this little thin book I did on Meshtastic, she was working on the images for that book for 2 weeks, getting these images to be the right size and redrawing my junky drawings. So she spends an enormous amount of time getting the books ready for print. And so, yeah, I'm trying to, all right. So you asked, I found a program called Atticus. It is it's a self-publishing program that allows authors to take the manuscript of their book, put it into this program, Atticus. It does, it formats the book for print production. And there's a similar program for those of you who are interested in publishing, listen up. There's a similar program called Vellum, but Vellum is only for Mac computers. Denise only uses iPhone and Mac computers. I only use Android and Windows. So we have this little split in our household. Her side of the house is Mac and iOS, and my side is Windows. The book Arcturus, what we just published, we published it using Vellum, and the workflow was very fast. Took us a little while to figure out how to use the program, but it was much easier to do than her normal way in InDesign, which takes weeks to do. We went from a 2-week process down to about 4 days. There's a similar program called Atticus, and it's possible in the future she might let me format my own books. And if I start formatting my own books for print and the ebooks, that'll give her a lot more time to paint, because that's what I want to do. I want to take work off of her plate rather than having her devote 2 weeks every time we publish a book to doing the interior files. If she can come up with a cover image for me, and then I can do the interior file formatting and the ebook formatting, I don't mind doing that if I have a program that works. That would give her a lot more time to do what she wants to do, which is do some paintings. So we're working on getting her out of my my publishing business and getting her into doing more paintings.
Good. Thank you very much. And I appreciate everything that you and Denise do.
Thanks, Carolyn. Thank you for your time.
Sure.
All right. Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. All right. There's a lady named Denise Hayes who is on the live stream. Honey, if you want to talk, go for it. Your hand is up. Can she unmute herself? That's the question.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, now that my name came up, I want to thank Carolyn for buying, one of my prints, and everybody who has done that in the past since I opened up my website. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm sorry I'm not painting as much as I should. I do usually have multiple things happening in the studio at one time, but then there's times weeks can go by where I don't get in there, like Dave said. So I keep realizing that I need more work on my website for people to choose from. And I have a bunch of stuff that I started a long time ago and never finished. So I'm going to have to get on with that and finish a few things. But thank you so much, Carolyn, and everybody. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, baby. That's my wife. She's not a figment of your imagination. All right. No one has their hand up. All right. I'm going to do a little monologue here until somebody raises their hand. So on previous live streams, I think on a previous Supernatural Saturday and potentially on a Mary Grace episode, I talked about a future book that we're looking to publish called Spiritual Warfare Made Simple. Because what the heck? I haven't actually written a book on spiritual warfare yet. And so, okay, we got one hand up. So let me tell you what happened to that book project as quickly and succinctly as I can. I sat down and I started coming up with the topics that I want to cover in the book on spiritual warfare. And the list kept growing and growing and growing, getting longer and longer and longer and longer. I was like, wow, this is crazy. There's so much to talk about. And that's odd because when I started with the idea of a book on spiritual warfare, I thought, am I even going to have enough to fill, one average size book? And I'm at a point now where I have enough content to fill 2 books. Interesting problem to have. So here's what happened. There's in my list of topics, I just listed out all the topics that I want to write about. The list devolved into 2 separate categories, which are going to turn into 2 separate books. All right. So there's what I would call the tactical area of spiritual warfare. And by tactics, I'm most familiar with fireground operations because I worked as a firefighter. When we talk about tactics on the fireground, there are strategies, there are goals, and there are tactics. A goal, for example, I'm working on an engine company, and our engine company goes with another engine and a medic unit to a house fire. And our goal when we get there is to put out the house fire. That's the goal. All right. What are the strategies? Okay, so there's goal. A goal is at the top, put out the fire. Strategy is the next layer below. The strategy is going to include extinguishing the fire, rescuing the occupants that are in the building, and preventing spread of the fire to other houses. Those are the strategic objectives for the team. So we want to rescue, we want to extinguish the fire and prevent it from burning down the entire neighborhood. Those are strategic objectives. Then it comes down to tactics. What are the actual tactics we're going to use to accomplish the strategic objectives that will accomplish the goal? So tactically, we're going to send 2 firefighters. This is a tactic. 2 firefighters are going to take a hose off the engine. They're going to go in the front door and look for the seat of the fire. There's going to be 2 more firefighters go in with a backup line. They're going to go in with the primary hose team and together they will find the seat of the fire, extinguish the fire. There'll be a medic team that will go in with a hose line, and they're going to effect search and rescue. They're going to do a right-hand wall search and search every room in the house and find all occupants and get them out. There's going to be a second team that is going to watch the exterior of the house and make sure that none of the houses nearby catch fire. So they may wet down the roof or the siding of the houses nearby to prevent what's called extension of the fire to the neighborhood. All right. I'm saying all of this to help you understand how I think as an author. When I'm writing a book, I tend to think in terms of what is the overall goal of this book? What strategic objectives am I trying to meet? And what can I give you tactically that you can do to accomplish the objectives and the goals, right? So in the context of spiritual warfare, there are goals, strategies, and tactics. And what I came up with was a long list of tactics related to spiritual warfare. So everything from praying in tongues, interpreting tongues, prophetic intercession, making prophetic declarations and decrees, going to the courts of heaven, all of those things that I just described, those are all tactics for spiritual warfare. There's my friend Todd Adams is big into discerning the strongholds of covens of witches and people who work in the occult, and the ley lines that they use to set up power grids and power structures within geographical areas. Exploring that subject is a tactical method of conducting spiritual warfare. All right. So what happened as I'm working on this manuscript is I just came up with all of these tactical approaches to conducting spiritual warfare. There's confronting territorial spirits, for example. Like I said, praying in tongues, interpreting tongues, and all different types of singing, worship. Worship is warfare. There's going to be a chapter on worship of warfare. So there's all of these things that are what I call tactical approaches to spiritual warfare. And then there is another list that I came up with. And it's a list of known evil spirits that afflict us that we have to wage warfare against. So what are the examples? Well, you start with the biblical examples of the spirit of infirmity, right? Jesus met this woman who had a spirit of infirmity. She was bent over for many years, and he commanded the spirit of infirmity to leave, and the woman was healed. So the spirit of infirmity. There's a deaf and mute spirit that causes deafness and inability to speak. There is a spirit that causes epilepsy. There's a spirit of divination. A servant girl followed the Apostle Paul and his disciples around for many days, saying, "These men are men of the Most High God, and they're preaching the truth." And Paul discerned that this woman actually had a spirit of divination, and he cast out the spirit of divination. So there's the spirit of divination. There's the spirit of Jezebel. There is the Leviathan spirit. There is the orphan spirit. There's a spirit of Mammon. There are all these different evil spirits, entities. I came up with a list of over 40 of them. And I was like, I really need to write a chapter on each of these different types of evil spirits. Suicide spirit, the spirit of rebellion, witchcraft spirits. There's all these different spirits that have to be addressed that can influence us, cause sickness, oppress us, and wreak havoc in our lives. So what I came up with is the difficult realization that the spiritual warfare is going to have to be broken into two separate books. One book is going to be about addressing specific spirits, which Paul refers to, the Bible refers to as demons or evil spirits, but also powers and principalities, rulers, and spiritual hosts of wickedness, right? Those are that describes fallen angels and also demonic entities. So one book is going to be about identifying and defeating evil spirits, specific evil spirits. The second book is going to be about tactical spiritual warfare, praise and worship, intercessory warfare, tongues, courts of heaven, other heavenly courts, tactical things we can do to wage spiritual warfare. And so we're going to have 2 books coming out in the not too distant future. I'm not going to give you a timeline on them. I hope to have the first book shaped up pretty quickly. Shouldn't take too long. And then the second book will come out whenever I have time to whip that manuscript into shape. So that the book on defeating evil spirits, and I may just call it Defeating Evil Spirits Made Simple, will probably come out first. And then the second book on tactical spiritual warfare will come out second. So that's just an update on the book projects that I've got going on. And in the meantime, I've got science fiction books I'm working on other novels, short stories. Can you tell I love to write? I do. I literally love to write. I'll always sit at my desk an entire day, and then the next day and the next day, just writing and editing. I just love doing it. I do get to a point where I develop posterior neck pain from sitting at my desk too long, and then I have to take a couple of days off and do something else besides writing. So that is the update on what books are coming up next. Now, Deborah Cockerill. Deborah, if you can unmute yourself, what is going on this afternoon?
Hey, Dave. Can you hear me? Hello.
I can hear you.
All right. Good deal. I am so excited about the new book.
Me too.
You said it's going to be ebook. Is that going to be through Audible or a different format where I can purchase it directly from you, or what?
Okay. So which book are we referring to?
The one that you were just,
Okay.
no, the one that you just released. I can't call the name of it.
Arcturus.
Yes.
Arcturus.
Yes.
The science fiction. This is the first book in a trilogy, by the way.
Oh boy.
So here's the deal. I worked on and I developed the manuscripts for all 3 books at the same time. Book 2, the entire manuscript, the draft is finished, and book 3, the draft is finished. I have to go in and rework and do a lot of editing on those 2 manuscripts. But the second and third books in the trilogy are already finished. The manuscripts, the draft. So Arcturus is available in paperback. It's also available in ebook. And I hired a guy to do the audio book. He's a voiceover actor. He's very professional. And he does different character voices.
Yay.
And I think he's going to be the perfect person to do the audio for this book. His schedule, he's booked until November. So in November, he's going to start work on the audible version of Arcturus.
Okay. Well,
All right.
I'm reading right now. I'm reading Gates of Shiloh, and finally got my hard copy, and I'm loving it. And I really appreciate your work and all the stuff that you do. And that caught my attention. My initial question was, or what I wanted to say before I found out about the book and got all excited and sidetracked, was that I believe that I did some deliverance. If I wake up in the night, I have you on my phone set up, so all I have to do is tap one of your prayers from the website, and
Right on.
and that's how I go right back to sleep. Well, the other morning, I is before sunup, I woke up, I did that, and I just didn't feel good, and I got up, and I thought, man, I'm gonna be sick of my stomach, and I got me a little bucket, and I had just prayed one of the self-deliverance prayers, right? And I threw up 3 times, and it was from deep-rooted Self-rejection and self-condemnation. I was not really cognizant. I don't throw up easily. It's not something that happens for me. It was the easiest time I ever threw up in my life. It was
Wow.
just there. I went back to sleep, and I feel amazing. And I want to thank you for
So
that.
you made a demon homeless, apparently.
Apparently made two of them homeless. And just easy. The thing I'm excited because there was no condemnation with it. That we have demons come around, and they come and they get us, and they've been
Yep.
there. And I've been doing the deliverance, and I'm praying for my daughter who's a survivor of youth sexual trauma, and I just love how you've made it easy and okay to do the stuff and enjoy the freedom that God wants us to have. And I wanted to thank you for that and tell you that, and anybody else that's listening, how easy it can be if you just take advantage of what tools God and Dave have made available for us. So thanks.
Amen, sister. Hey, Deborah, I got one more thing I want to say before you go.
Okay.
Regarding the Gates of Shiloh and Charity's Garden, I hired a voiceover artist to do the narration for both of those books on Audible.
Oh, yeah.
A woman named Anna Crowley. She has a silky smooth voice. And I auditioned a lot of different people, and I hired Anna to do the voiceover, the audio for both Gates of Shiloh and Charity. She's going to start working in September on Gates of Shiloh, and then she'll do Charity's Garden. So we have more Audible books coming out for people who like them.
I love that. I'm excited to hear that. And I love that. I'm looking forward to the red one. I still can't call the name.
Arcturus.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to that because I too love C.S. Lewis is one of my favorites. He's one of my heroes. And Perelandria, when I first encountered it, it was through Audible, and I just about,
It's an amazing book, isn't it?
It is. And I was like, this is C.S. Lewis? I didn't know this was C.S. Lewis. So now
the funny thing is, there's a couple of things about Lewis. He was a contemporary of H.G. Wells, right? So most people got back in the day, I mean, we're talking Depression era, their first introduction to science fiction was H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. And then some of the other, the greats of science fiction were writing at the same time in the 1930s and 20s. And Lewis thought, I can take a swing at this too. I can write some science fiction because a lot of the science fiction early sci-fi authors had an atheistic or agnostic view of the world. And of course, C.S. Lewis had a little different view of the world. So I really love his writing. It inspires me.
Me too. Well, thank you. I have some questions that I will email you with where I'm doing and it may play into your books. I don't know. You may already have the answers about praying for my daughter and for deliverance for her and things. But the best way to do that is to email with questions in the same way I would if I were asking for prayer.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, Dave. God bless.
Thank you, Deborah.
Bye.
All right. All right. We got hands. Right on. I wanted to let you know, for those of you who are following on Telegram, oh my gosh. I just start laughing. I have some amazing testimonies that have been sent to me in the last 2 days. One, well, I'm not even going to give you the spoiler. Keep your eyes on the Telegram channel over the next couple of days for a couple of just wild, very cool testimonies, long testimonies, but very good testimonies of just amazing stuff that God is doing. Yeah, I'm not going to give any spoilers on it. I'm just going to say, keep your eyes out for some cool testimonies. By the way, if you have a testimony of some miracle that God did, whether it's a financial miracle, a job miracle, he fixed your broken washing machine supernaturally, or emotional healing, send it to me by email or post it in the chat, and we'll repost it, because there's a lot of people who are struggling and suffering and hurting. And sometimes a testimony will just give them breakthrough for their own miracle. When you're losing hope, you love reading testimonies from other people. It just encourages you to know that God is on the case. All right, Lynn B. All right, we'll try it again. Lynn B., if you can unmute yourself, what is going on this afternoon? Lynn, are you? Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, good afternoon. I'm so glad you're on today. I was wondering there in the beginning, but I was glad it came up quickly. I wanted to share with you something that I learned that actually would feed into your book that you were talking about, Spiritual Warfare.
Okay.
I learned this from the Lord one day. He revealed to me the word ease. And I have a young person in my life. Her name's Rebecca. And she always says, when she prays, she says, Lord, let this happen with ease. And that word caught my attention. And so I started looking it up, and I found that when God created in Genesis, when he created everything, he created it with ease. And on the seventh day, the Sabbath that he made it, that word rest also means with ease. And we don't see anything negative about that word until after the fall. And that's when the word dis-ease comes into play.
Right.
And dis-ease is, an evil spirit. And it's without ease,
Right.
no ease there, and which opens the door for sickness. And so, of course, later it became just sickness for us. It became a disease. And
Right.
so the Lord showed me, he said, Lynn, every single disease name is the name of a spirit. And so, I believe in asking him all kinds of questions that, some people probably wouldn't ask. But I said, well, what about Parkinson's? And he says, and I said, because that was named after a person here. He goes, yes, but where that name originally came from was there is a demon named Parkinson's. And I was like, it just like hit me so hard. All these different names, we've gotten names from all kinds of places, last names from all kinds of places. It never occurred to me that some of the fallen fallen angels had names. It never even occurred to me, but they all had names in heaven. And so, like, cancer is a spirit. That's
Right.
the name of a spirit.
Right.
And so I just thought that was so interesting that there's ease and we can see when God works in our lives, he does it with ease. And
He
then,
does.
and then when it's not, there is dis-ease. So I just wanted to share that and see what you thought about that.
I think you have some really good points there, and I may steal some of that information and put it in the book.
You're welcome to. That's why I called to give it to you.
All right. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye. All right. Let's see. Roger Smith. Roger, if you can unmute yourself, sir, what is going on this afternoon?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay. You mentioned getting a narrator to do audiobook, and my antenna went up because 15 years ago I produced audiobooks, and I'm a narrator myself. I'm not trying to put myself into play as someone for you to use. I have a good friend, though, out of Hollywood who's a Christian, who is a legend in the voiceover business. That
Okay.
his name is Pat Fraley. If you've watched any Hanna-Barbera cartoon in the last 30 or 40 years, you've heard his voice.
Okay.
He does. He actually, this is someone that people would not know about because his specialty is voice acting and voiceover. But he's a legend in Hollywood for being able to create on the spot complicated character voices.
Okay.
Anyway, if you've ever had any kids you know that have seen the cartoons of the Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles, the creature in that's like the bad guy is called Krang. That's Pat's voice. And anyway, I just
Interesting.
thought, well, now the problem is because of the arena he works in, he has a agent and a manager, and he's expensive. Okay. And that can be a problem. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of people, good people doing good voiceover work. I would never try to offer myself because I'm not good at doing character voices.
Right.
But I'm glad you found the right talent, though, to get that
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. When we published Opturius, and I put it out there on a platform called ACX, which is the production platform
Very familiar.
for Audible.
Yes.
For doing, and I put it up there and I opened it up for auditions. And the very first audition that I listened to, I got the first day I had it up there. I think I had 5 or 6 different auditions where people submit an audio track as an audition. And the very first one I listened to this guy and I thought, oh my gosh, I gave them a section of the script that has different characters and it's challenging for a voiceover person to do this section. I chose it for that reason. And this guy nailed it. His voicing was perfect. His timing was perfect. There's some comedy in there and some drama, and he hit it all perfectly. And I thought, I don't even need to listen to the rest of these auditions. This is the guy I want. Although I did listen to the rest of the auditions, and I went back and said, no, this is definitely the guy.
Well,
so yeah, I contacted him. He's not cheap. It's going to cost a bit of money to hire him. And he's agreed to do the other 2 books in the series as well. So,
well, there's a lot of people that try to do it for hardly any money at all, and they don't realize that for every hour of finished produced narration, there are many, many hours that go into that. And I've had to sit in front of a computer mastering and grieve over, okay, how do I fix this?
Right. For those of you who don't know, on ACX, when you hire a voiceover artist to do an Audible book, the price usually ranges between $200 and $400 per finished hour of work.
Yeah.
So it's an investment of money for me, and it's investment of time for the voiceover artist to do it. So,
Absolutely.
Little inside baseball.
The way I got into it is back in the 2000s, a close friend who had been involved in ministries for years and coaching people into being self-published and stuff. She had a book project from a local pastor in the Tulsa area, and she said, just out of the clear blue, she said, I think, and I'd never done any writing before, and she said, I think you need to do the ghostwriting on that. And that's what got me writing books years ago. And when I was finished with that, she came back and said, you're the one that needs to narrate it for the audiobook. And that started me for a few years doing that stuff.
Very cool.
And what's interesting is after all these years, she's come back and she said, it's time for you to start writing again. And I kidded with her because you and her and I share the same sensibility about church and the process of what Christianity should be, which I believe is very much relational instead
Right.
of structural.
Right.
And I said, it's regrettable, but for a lot of people in ministry, it's a convenient excuse for being narcissistic.
Well,
And I told her, I said, I'm going to write a book someday. And I said it in jest. And I said, I'll write a book someday called Addicted to Ministry. So take,
Yeah.
take that as you will. The irony is I have a family that have been involved in major ministries for decades. And so I say that with a glint in my eye.
Right.
But I'm just happy for your success. My goodness.
Well,
Do they have a projected time on when they're going to have the narration finished?
for the Arcturus, the science fiction book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the guy that I hired, his name is Casey, said he is going to do so on ACX. There's a 15-minute sample that they have to complete. He wants me to schedule that for the end of October, where he'll get the first 15-minute deadline done in October, and then he's going to work on it in November. I would imagine by the end of November we'll have the finished file uploaded and ready to go.
What's the length on the book? I mean, do you look at page or word count?
It's 306 pages.
Okay.
And he estimated 6.5 finished hours of work.
That's pretty good. My narrating tempo is a bit slower than that, so I'd probably wind up about 7 to 8 hours.
Yeah. Yep. It's a pretty good book. It's my first book over 300 pages. So yeah, I'm excited to finally get it out there and ready and raring to write the second book. Well, to edit the second book.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Roger.
Yeah.
All right. Where did Roger go? Roger disappeared. Kathleen Graham. Kathleen, you have your hand up. What is on your mind?
Just wanted to depart a little bit from the book writing, which I love.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a lot of your books. But I had a question about Trump's press conference tomorrow about what's going to happen in D.C. with the violence.
On Monday, because today's Saturday.
Monday. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all right.
I'm retired. I lose track of days.
Well, I do too, because I don't actually go in, work a regular, Monday through Friday job. So I always have to ask Denise, what day of the week is it anyway?
Right. So, Mike, what are your thoughts on what he's going to say and what's going to happen? I think it's going to have to be something pretty dramatic.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. So that's a very interesting question. President Trump made it pretty clear when he was running as a candidate back in 2024 that he was not happy with the way Washington, D.C. is being run by the mayor, by the city council, and that he had every intention of federalizing Washington, D.C. And I haven't looked into the legalities of it. It seems like Trump has some pretty smart lawyers, and they've obviously figured out a constitutional way to take the District of Washington back to some being under the control of the federal government like it was probably hundreds of years ago. That's my guess is where this is going. Like I said, I haven't studied the history, and I don't know, how did Washington become a municipality with a city council and a mayor and all that. I don't know how that happened, but I think Trump is going to announce that he is going to start the process of putting DC under federal control. The crime there is insane. The corruption is insane. The city council, people have lost their minds. They will not allow the police department to enforce reasonable laws on criminal statutes. And Trump is just fed up with it. He's fed up. And I think we're going to see federalization of the District of Columbia. And in case it hasn't been apparent, I think President Trump has some big plans for the White House itself. He was up there on the roof walking around. Was it the West Wing roof, I think, a couple days ago? And Trump is a builder. And when he was up there talking with the guys on the roof, I got the vibe like he's planning on making some major structural renovations to the White House to make it more elegant, more pristine, larger, because that's how he is. The White House is an old building, and it's not large enough to accommodate all the people it needs to accommodate for the business that are being conducted in the White House. I think Trump is going to make major expansions to the White House myself. I think he's going to make major reforms to Washington, D.C. itself, the city. Getting rid of the graffiti, getting rid of the gangs, and cleaning up the homeless problem and the drugs and violence and everything else. Trump just is not going to put up with that in this second term. So I think we're going to see big changes coming.
Well, thank goodness. It's about time. And
Yeah.
I would like very much for something to be done about Los Angeles. And I know everybody would, but that communist mayor, I'm not sure exactly. I mean, it's
Boy.
California.
California's a mess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just terrible governance.
Right.
I don't know what the solution is going to be to turn California around. Well, the one thing that's going to help, I think, Pam Bondi and the DOJ, they are investigating elections. They've requested voter rolls and registrations information from 19 different states, and they're investigating what's going on with voter rolls. Are these voter rolls actually legitimate? How many dead people are on there? What's going on with voting? I think that at some point we may end up losing electronic voting machines in a lot of these states.
Oh, I hope
Well,
so.
I'll tell you, I live in Arizona, and Arizona is ground zero for election fraud.
Exactly.
Katie Hobbs, I think, is on her way out, and it's very likely we're going to have Andy Biggs as our next governor. With Andy Biggs coming into Arizona as a governor, he will be able to work with the Republican legislature to finally reform our elections the way they're supposed to be. There would have been a lot more reform, except for Katie Hobbs was our governor, and our Republican legislature has not been able to pass really any of the legislation they want over the last 3 years because of Katie Hobbs. If she gets out, if Andy Biggs comes in, that will be a big change. I think if a lot of these Democrat governors get replaced, if they can change the election system, get rid of the electronic voting machines, go back to paper ballots, hand counted at the precinct level, that gives a level playing field for all competitors. And I think you see a lot of these Democrat strongholds lose their power, perhaps get in some Republican legislatures, Republican governors, who can then go and start to reform this rot in these big cities, Denver, Seattle, Portland, LA, where it's just turned into a crime zone. I think eventually those things will start to be exposed and changed.
I have one more question, if you don't mind. What are your thoughts on President Trump's using the military to root out the cartels in Mexico and other Latin American countries? Can he legally do that?
I think it was an eventuality.
Ah,
When President Trump declared the emergency at the border, the national emergency, and he deployed the military to the border and had that 60-foot strip of land all along the border made into an actual military base that then allowed the military to patrol the border. And instead of having county sheriffs or state patrol or DPS having to do law enforcement, now it's under military control. When I saw Trump do that, I thought it's only a matter of time before he takes the military into the drug cartels, because when you name drug cartels as terrorist organizations, that allows the military then to come in and operate counterterrorism at the military level. I think this whole thing was just an eventuality. The drug cartels represent a clear and present danger, a threat to the security of our national. It's a national security issue, and it hasn't been addressed by any of the prior presidents. Trump is finally saying, "Look, enough is enough. We're not going to be losing, 500,000 people a year to fentanyl anymore," and all the other things that the drug cartels are doing. So, look, at the end of the day, this is really all about Trump's refocusing on the Monroe Doctrine. All right, so the Monroe Doctrine was a principle that came to the forefront in response to the French and British colonialism, and the French and British coming and trying to take land in the Western Hemisphere. And at that time, some of the presidents started to think, maybe we need to concern ourselves more with what is happening geopolitically in the Western Hemisphere rather than the Eastern Hemisphere of the world. And so what Trump has said he said it, but he's actually done it. Trump is much less interested in what is happening in Somalia and Djibouti and Eastern Asia and Cambodia and all these other places where we have troops. What Trump wants is he wants to secure American interests in the Western Hemisphere. So when we had this issue with Panama and the Panama Canal, which had pretty much been taken over by China, Trump, very early on in the administration, Trump was like, yeah, that's not happening anymore. We are kicking China out of the Panama Canal. And there was this soft takeover of the Panama Canal by our military, right? And there was a pushback by the Panamanian government, but Trump finally got a deal settled on the Panama Canal because that is a Western Hemisphere. It directly involves our sphere of control in the Western Hemisphere. And for decades, the CIA and other government agencies, going back to the 80s, have been running drugs and weapons operations through Central and South America. And Trump has finally said, look, this is insanity. We're not going to allow this to happen anymore. Not in our back door. Mm-hmm. The rhetoric about Canada becoming the 51st state, the rhetoric about taking over Greenland, the rhetoric about Panama and taking down the drug cartels by the military. All of that is a cohesive policy where Trump wants to secure the Western Hemisphere as a zone that we control, that neither China nor Russia or any other country can come in and backdoor us and weaken us, or allow drug cartels to come in and kill our people, steal our money, and cause havoc at their, that they can profit off of. This whole conversation about Panama and Greenland and Canada and the drug cartels, Trump has taken us back to the Monroe Doctrine, where we're going to take care of our interests in our hemisphere. And I think eventually Trump is going to tell the people in Europe and Asia, you have to sort your own problems out. We're not the world's policemen anymore. We're taking care of our own problems now. I think with Trump settling peace negotiations between Pakistan and India and Cambodia and Thailand and all these other countries, he doesn't want to be the world's policeman anymore. He wants peace overseas, and he wants to have reasonable control of the areas around our borders and our areas of national interest. I think we're going to see a lot more of that in the coming months as Trump begins to roll out his approach to the Monroe Doctrine.
Very good. Thank you so much for your thoughts. You always have a lot to offer, and I really appreciate it. Can I ask you one more question?
Sure. Yeah, we got time. What's up?
Okay. Well, all right. China owns a lot of our farmland. They own a lot of property around military bases. You think he's going to kick them out as well?
Absolutely.
Good. Glad to hear that.
Absolutely.
And then the
I
wildfires.
think that the gradual encroachment over the last 40 years that China has infiltrated, buying up land, infiltrating our intelligence agencies, infiltrating the White House, State Department, infiltrating wherever they can, weakening our economic base, supply chains, all of that. Trump is going to reverse all of that, and fairly quickly. I'm pretty sure.
Felt that as well. He's actually said it a number of times, and people just didn't believe him. One other question: the wildfires across Canada, the Western U.S., Australia. I can't believe those are all just organically started. I'm not sure. I'm kind of a conspiracy theorist on that, but it seemed like it's just the destruction of our woodlands, wildlife habitat, resources, forage for cattle, forage for, all of those things. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, gosh. I had a little discussion with Denise this morning, and I informed her that in Nova Scotia, you can now be fined $25,000 for merely entering a wooded property. They've basically passed a temporary resolution banning citizens in Nova Scotia from going into the woods on the advice of experts who say that, humans going into the woods is causing these fires. So we have to not allow humans to go into the woods anymore. There is, in my opinion, and I've said for years I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I am a coincidence analyst. And if you look at what's going on in many parts of the world, it seems to me like there is a organized effort to confine people to certain geographical locations, and it's not out in the wilderness. It is in the cities. So what happened with the Palisades in California? We had these wildfires that coincidentally they couldn't put out because there wasn't any water. Coincidentally, there was all kinds of brush everywhere that was never cleared. Coincidentally, a whole bunch of insurance companies left right before the fire started. Coincidentally, it is chain of coincidence that just keeps going on. And now they're not allowing the people to rebuild. And Gavin Newsom has announced a plan to basically build low-income housing in one of the most valuable properties in North America. I don't think all of those things are coincidences. I don't think the wildfires in California and Oregon and what we know that a lot of the fires that happened 4 years ago were arson. They caught the arsonists setting these fires right around I think it was the summer of COVID in 2020. There is an agenda out there by powerful people to create a narrative and to create economic hardship. And I think the long-term plan, this is actually a United Nations, it's in their plans. They have a plan to basically sequester all citizens into urban areas and prevent them from driving, hiking, camping, canoeing, or anything out in any of the wilderness areas. They want to confine people. Well, one of the things they wanted to do with COVID that they started to do, but we caught on to it was confining people to within a certain distance of their home. The whole plan with COVID was mask up, 6 feet, and go home during the daytime, work at home, don't go into the office, don't drive, work at home, and don't leave your home. You know what? Order the food to be delivered to your house. You don't have to go out. You don't have to drive. You can have it all delivered. You can work from home. You could just stay in your little cubicle literally 24/7 for weeks or months at a time. Don't have to drive. Don't have to hike. Don't have to go climbing or canoeing or anything else. Stay at home. And their plan was to build, what's the idea with the 15-minute cities? It's to build everything you need within a mile or two of your house. So you don't have to go out into the wilderness. You don't have to go to the national parks. You don't have to go anywhere. What's the agenda with electric cars? If you have an electric car that requires charging periodically, they can put the charging stations wherever they want. And if they don't want you going out into a national park or across the prairies, they just don't put charging stations there. And you can't go there because you don't have a car that'll get you there. Their plan was to outlaw all combustion engine cars, go to total electric, because the sun is trying to kill the earth and we have to get rid of all the greenhouse gases, which means we have to have all electric cars. And then they pare down the distance of electric cars to where they only go, let's say 25 miles, which pretty much means you're confined to your 15-minute city.
Yeah, they almost made it too, didn't they?
And they almost got there. Their long-term plan was to lock us up into urban ghettos.
The most
and then,
unhealthy.
And they were going to then go rape and pillage the land that we could not go and see or visit or live in or purchase. And there's an actual plan that lays this whole thing out. Fortunately, God, thank God for Donald Trump. Trump came in, exposed their plan, and started to reverse their policies. Why is he against, government subsidies for electric cars? Because he knows where they're going with the electric car agenda. He's reversing a lot of these policies, and he's hip to what they're trying to do, and he's not going to let it happen. So, no, I don't think. But yes, there are some natural forest fires in Canada and Western U.S., but some of that is intentional, either through not clearing the deadfall or through arson or whatever. That they have an agenda. And in Canada, look, if you live in Canada, you're screwed.
Right.
The Marxist governments both at the smaller levels and nationally, things are very, very bad. I guess sounds like Alberta and Saskatchewan may try to secede, from Canada join the U.S. because it sounds like there's a few independent thinking people in those provinces who may want to not go along with the plan, but the rest of Canada is, boy, it's tough shape. They've got terrible
Yeah.
leadership,
That
and
Palisade fire, though, back to that, just to say, somebody posted on video, video post of the satellite views of those fires, all three starting at the exact same time.
yeah,
And yeah, that was pretty creepy.
it is creepy. All right, Kathleen, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
And
Appreciate you.
thank you for your attention to this matter.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Let's see. Who's next? Kazuko. Kazuko, if you can unmute yourself, dear, what is on your mind this afternoon? Or let's see, it's probably middle of the night where you are in Japan. Are you there, Kazuko? I heard some sound. All right. Maybe we're not going to hear from Kazuko. All right. Karen Andrews. Karen Andrews, if you can unmute yourself, what is on your mind this afternoon? Karen, are you there? Let's see. Did Karen just get bounced? I think she did. Sometimes, Karen, are you there? Sometimes when people go to unmute, they get kicked out of the live stream. I'm not sure why.
Hello?
Karen, are you? I can hear you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, number one, thank you so much. This is a long one, so just kind of bear with me here.
Let me go get and refresh my drink, and you just keep talking.
It started about 1.5 years ago. I started not feeling well. I kept going to the doctor. They kept saying, you've got cancer. They did a PET scan. They said, you have nodules in your lungs. You have an aneurysm in the aorta. We'll see you in 6 months. I went to the hospital and they said, you're extremely anemic. Your hemoglobin's half of what it should be. Take iron twice a day. Well, 1 year ago in September, I had 2 strokes. They sent me, I was in the hospital for over a week, never saw a doctor. I finally got out of the hospital and I had to find a new doctor. And God is good. God is good. I found a new doctor. He got me a neurologist, an oncologist. December, they did surgery. In January, they told me I have stage 4 cancer. I've been listening to on your website that where you do the healing prayers.
Yep.
And in January, in the 1st of July, I'm cancer free.
Wow.
I have cognitive issues from the strokes, but that's okay. I can live with that.
Okay.
I can walk, I can talk, I'm good. Well, I've been telling everybody from when this started, I went from 145 to 101 pounds. I've been telling everybody the whole time I've been going through this, God is good. He won't bring me to it if he can't bring me through it.
Yep.
Now I found out that I'm not seeing things, but you don't know you're not seeing things until somebody points out you're not seeing them. So now they've told me I have macular degeneration. I have cataracts, and they have to take care of those so they can see if the neurological ophthalmologist has said, then they can see if what's going on is my eyes are not connecting with my brain correctly.
Okay.
I went to see a friend of mine because I've always had total faith in God, always. But I'm getting more vocal about it. And I tell everybody, you know what? God is good. Give it to God. He'll take care of you. But she told me, she said that I've been so vocal and that I need to be ready because things are going to get really hard. And they are. I'm having trouble. And I think it's me. It's not God. I still have total faith that God's going to take care of it. But I feel like it's getting harder. And I tried listening. Now it's the vision. So I've been listening to your other prayer, your healing prayer, the third one you did, not the COVID or the cancer, but the other one. And I've been trying to listen.
Have you listened to the healing prayer for the nervous system yet?
That's the one I'm talking about. That's what I've started listening to. But I'm having trouble concentrating. I'm having trouble. Things are getting really hard. I'm having trouble concentrating on things now. I know things are going to be okay monetarily. My husband says I need to work on zeros. We got a check for $3.40. But you know what? God's good. He's going to provide. He's going to take care of it. But I feel like I've been real itchy and real having trouble concentrating. And I'm like, is this me or am I imagining this? Is there something else going on that I'm not seeing? I'm having trouble reading, so I've been listening to an app at night where they read from the Bible because I can't read and concentrate on it. I'm not getting it. And I can't drive, so I'm having trouble getting around more people. But that's okay. But it almost feels like there's something else at play here that I'm not seeing. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And I'm not sure where to go. I go outside, I sit outside barefoot with my feet on the ground and talk to God, and I'm trying really hard to figure out what I need to do. What I'm missing. If you could help, I'd appreciate it. If you have a suggestion.
Yeah, I do. Have you gone through emotional healing yet?
No. I've a long time ago, I wrote everyone letters, and when someone pops in my head, I'm like, God, I hope they have what they need. I pray I hope they have what they want, and I pray they have what they need. Help them to forgive me and help me to forgive them. Anybody that I've hurt.
Yeah, that's not emotional healing.
But I don't. Okay. Where do I do that?
Yeah. So I have another video.
Okay.
That is, it is a very short video. It's literally 9 minutes.
Okay.
And it's on my website. It's on all my websites. If you could just look for emotional healing, it's there. On my Rumble channel, it's there. We post it all the time in the Telegram chat. If, in fact, someone, as I'm speaking right now, is probably going to post a link to healing in the chat, and in that there's a long list. We have links in there, and there's a link to the emotional healing.
Okay.
I have a 9-minute video that you can listen to, and it walks you through the process of emotional healing, and it's not about forgiveness. Okay, so it's not about holding grudges. It's not about forgiveness. It's a completely different process. Emotional healing is about Jesus coming to you and healing the emotional wounds in your soul. And many diseases and afflictions and sicknesses have a root of emotional trauma.
Okay.
I have hundreds and hundreds of testimonies from people who have received physical healing after they went through emotional healing. In fact, Notorious DOG is probably in the chat right now. That woman has had crunchy knees, blown out knees. She needs new meniscus in her knees. She's had it for years. She thought it was just an issue of physical healing. Well, lo and behold, she went through emotional healing. She's been going through emotional healing process for about probably 3 years now. And God will continually bring up to her traumatic events from her past. And as she identifies the emotion, gives it to Jesus, asks Jesus to heal the wound in her soul, she continues to experience physical healing of her issues as she goes through the emotional healing process. So my guess is the neurological problems, the macular degeneration, all the other issues, a lot of those issues are probably there because you haven't gone through the emotional healing process. You have emotional trauma, and demons attack us through emotional wounds.
Okay.
Paul says in Ephesians, I guess Ephesians 4:26, do not let the sun go down in your anger. Do not give the devil a foothold. What is he saying? He's saying that emotions, negative emotions like anger, rage, shame, guilt, fear, they're footholds for demons. When you have emotional trauma, demons use it as an open door. They afflict you with sickness as long as you have that unhealed emotional wound. When you go through the emotional healing process, it closes the door to the demons. And many times the demons will just self-deport. They just leave and the sickness goes with them.
Okay.
So the emotional healing, I'll just explain to you the emotional healing process, but you can also look for the video. So here's the process. You know what? Heck, I'm just going to take you through the process right now on the air. All right.
Okay.
So Karen,
Thank
here's what I want you to do. I just want you to think of the most emotionally traumatic event of your life, and just tell me what that event is. Death of a parent, death of a
Rape.
child, death of
Being gang raped.
what?
Being gang raped.
Okay. So, so when you think about the time that you were gang raped, what emotion do you feel when you think of that? What is the strongest emotion you feel?
Sad.
Sadness. Okay. So just repeat after me. Jesus, I ask you to take the feeling of sadness from me.
Jesus, I ask you to take the feeling of sadness from me.
I ask you to heal the wound in my soul.
I ask you to heal the wound in my soul.
I receive your healing.
I receive your healing.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I want you to think again about the time that you were gang raped. And when you think of that, what emotion do you feel now?
Peace.
Peace?
Peace.
Right. So that's the emotional healing process. Now, here's what you get to do over the next couple of days. I want you to go back through parts of your life and identify those traumatic events. Death of a pet, the time that your teacher embarrassed the hell out of you in front of the class, death of a family member, funeral you went to, being betrayed by a boyfriend, a divorce, all of those issues that cause strong negative feelings. And I want you to go through them one by one and identify, just kind of rehearse the memory in your mind one time. Identify the emotion you feel, whether it's anger, shame, guilt, fear, abandonment, whatever it is. Identify the emotion. Give
Oh
the
my
emotion.
God.
Give the emotion to Jesus. Ask him to heal the wound in your soul. Tell him you receive his healing. And then go back to that event and see, do you feel peace, or is there some other negative emotions there?
Yeah, I just I just flashed on my father was overseas. He was in the military when it happened.
Okay.
And they offered him a chance to come back back home because my family really needed him. And he was in Southeast Asia. It was during Vietnam. I'm going to be 70 soon. And he said no. He declined it. And I had forgotten that.
He said no, he wouldn't come back home.
Yeah, he stayed in Southeast Asia. I'd forgotten that.
When you think about that, what emotion do you feel?
Hurt.
Okay, so here's what you do. Repeat after me. Jesus, I ask you to take the hurt from me.
Jesus, I ask you to take the hurt from me.
I ask you to heal the wound in my soul.
I ask you to heal the wound in my soul.
I receive your healing.
I receive your healing.
All right.
You know, I've been asking since the new diagnosis. I've been asking, I'm like, what's the lesson I need to learn here? And I think that's why I've been trying so hard to get hold of you today. Thank you.
You're welcome, Karen.
I got work to do.
we all do. Let me tell you something. I have had a traumatic past. I got the hell beat out of me every day when I was a kid by my 3 older brothers because I had a smart mouth and I couldn't shut up. And I got the crap kicked out of me on a daily basis when I was a kid. I had a lot of very traumatic problems in work at a fire department that I worked at many, many years ago. And if you've ever read the book, Charity's Garden, almost all of those stories are true. That's sort of my unofficial autobiography. But I was just put through the ringer for years by evil, wicked, duplicitous people who wanted to destroy me. And when God finally got me on the road to emotional healing the wounds from all the betrayals and all of the backstabbing and all of the just evil, wicked things that people did to me, being just beat up by my brothers and everything else. I went through a season where God was just continuing. The Holy Spirit will just bring up to your mind events from your past that caused a traumatic wound in your soul. And he just did that for me over the period of about 1.5 years, 2 years. And I got healed of all that stuff. And I'll tell you what, I feel so much better now than I used to. I had a real anger problem for many years at work. I would blow up and get angry at the dumbest little things. And what I eventually realized was that I had a lot of emotional trauma rooted in anger for the way that I had been treated years ago. And nowadays, it takes a lot to make me angry. I'm much more calm, much more in control than I used to be. And Karen, what I want to tell you is this. If you'll spend just to start out with, spend an hour today and just sit in a chair in a comfortable position and just go back and think about, let the Holy Spirit bring to your memory events from the past that cause problems.
Okay.
And go through them, identify the emotion, give the emotion to Jesus, ask him to heal the wound in your soul. And what you'll find is you're going to find yourself walking in peace the sadness, the despair, the hopelessness, it's going to be gone. It will literally just be gone. It'll lift off of you. And
Okay.
then once you've gone through the emotional healing process, and then we start praying for your eyes, the macular degeneration, and your brain, and all that stuff will probably resolve much easier after you've gone through emotional healing.
Okay. I felt lately like I'm missing something. Like
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, you know what, God, I've given it to you. I've been giving it to you and I have total faith in you. And I just felt like I was missing something. And I think this may have been it.
This
Thank you.
is it. Trust me. This is what you've been missing. It is going to change your life. Guarantee it.
Okay. Thank you so much. I've been listening to your healing prayers at night, and they've helped so much and given me so much peace. So I really
Well, now you get to
appreciate.
go. Now you get to go to that video. If you just go through my videos and find the emotional healing video,
Yeah.
spend a few nights listening to that video, and I just walk you through the process one by one. What about this next memory? What happened there? What do you feel? Give it to Jesus. Let him heal the wound in your soul. Then go to the next one. If you do that, that is going to change your life in a big way. It really will.
Okay. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you taking the time and walking me through that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I had nothing else to do, so hey.
There's always a list of something to do. Thank you so much. You have
All
a
right,
good
Karen.
night.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, Rick, what is going on, buddy? Unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me, Dave?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, your previous caller just provoked me to raise my hand.
What's up, brother?
I'm holding in my hands a book that you don't talk about much,
Okay.
that you wrote. It's called Emotional Healing in 3 Easy Steps.
Yes.
I know that various reasons why you might not talk about it, because you've already come out with Emotional Healing Made Simple to supersede it, and you've also talked about your 9-minute video going through the process of emotional healing. But of all the books of yours that I've read, well over half of them. And by the way,
Rick, you're cutting out. Are you there?
yeah, it was a problem with my microphone and my headphones. It
Okay.
cut off because it's Bluetooth and it's back on. So I'm a third of the way through Arcturus. I think it's the best book that I've read by you so far.
Are you
I
serious?
do want to know. Oh yeah. And I've read you've written 23 books. I've read like 17 of them, something like that.
Wow.
So anyway, I'm not getting to my point. My point is,
Emotional healing in 3 easy steps.
I think you need to narrate it. I think it needs a narrator.
Really?
And so much so, I've read this book, 16, 17 times. And I've actually considered reading it aloud and recording it myself so that I could listen to myself reading it as I'm driving around. That's the most important book to me of all the ones that you've written.
All right.
Because
all
it's
right.
concise.
All right. You are laying down. You're throwing the Pepsi challenge my way.
And I want
So
you to read it.
You want me to consider doing the audible file for emotional healing in 3 easy steps. And you know what? I might actually consider doing that.
And I'll donate extra money to you for the process, for doing it for
I
yourself.
don't need your money, Rick.
Okay, I'll stop buying your books. Okay.
Your brainy ideas are really all I need. So, all right, I'll consider that. It is, that book is probably, it's between that book and the Defeating Your Adversary in the Court of Heavens is our most popular book by far. Those two. And that little emotional healing book, man, has just changed people's lives. Thank you, Jesus, for going in and healing people. I love what God's doing through those books. So I'll consider your request.
All right. How do you, different topic, how do you pronounce the name of the sun in Arcturus?
Thyanos.
Thyanos. Thank you.
Thyanos. Yep. So for those of you who don't know, the reason why Arcturus is subtitled Beneath a Crimson Sky is the planet Arcturus, where the main character Adam is kidnapped and taken to. It is a planet in a very small solar system, and the sun there is a red dwarf star. Actually, Rick, there's an actual solar system with a sun called TRAPPIST-1, that this whole story is built on that actual solar system. It's a solar system there's a red dwarf star is a star, and there are 7 planets in a very, very tight orbit around this red dwarf star. Actually, the farthest planet in this solar system is closer to the sun than Mercury is to our sun. It's a very small solar system. And because the sun is a red dwarf, all of the light on all of these planets it's in the red spectrum, infrared, near red. It's all red light. There is no white light there. So the story is told where every morning the sky is some shade of red or crimson or lavender or rose or mauve. And that's so Rick, what you may not know yet is when you hear about Madrion, this other massive planet that hangs in the sky, Madrion is going to be the setting of the 3rd book in the trilogy. And in that Arcturus is a very primitive planet. Madrion is a very technologically advanced planet. And they're right next to each other. And that's going to be the 3rd book. So,
okay, yeah, I haven't got that far yet.
Well, you'll hear when Adam starts going out and he's hiking around on the plateau, you'll see that he starts to see this other planet out there called Madrion, and Madrion is the setting of the 3rd book. So just keep that little planet in the back of your mind.
Okay, Thyanos and Madrion.
Thyanos is the sun in that solar system, and Madrion is the planet next door that's going to be in the 3rd book.
Yeah, so I know how to pronounce them in my head when I'm reading it.
Yep.
Thank you.
And you'll read about a war on Madrion, and the war on Madrion is a little precursor, a little glimpse of the 3rd book, just so you know.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you for strongly considering reading Emotional Healing in 3 Easy Steps by Praying Medic.
Thanks, man. Appreciate everything.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Who's here? TA, if you can unmute yourself, what is going on this afternoon? TA, are you there? You got to hit the little unmute button. All right. I think we're going to come back to TA. Let's see. Ariana Black. Ariana, if you can unmute yourself, what's going on this afternoon? Ariana, are you able to unmute? Ariana may have gotten bounced. I don't see her anymore. All right. Let's go Sometimes you go to unmute yourself and you get kicked out. Let's see. Ultra J Patriot, you had your hand up. You got anything on your mind this afternoon? I hear my neighbor, they got the weed whacker going on. All right. We are going to go to see. Cheryl Justice. Cheryl Justice, you have your hand up. Are you able to unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hey, Cheryl.
Hello. Finally brave enough to raise my hand.
Yay!
It took a lot of courage. First of all, I'd like to thank you for all these supernatural Saturdays that you have. And I know you're a busy guy, and maybe you can consider having them maybe twice a month. That way, oh, I know. Well, I think it would be great because it's nice to hear your perspective and your thoughts on all different topics. You shed a lot of light on some things. The news doesn't always give it to us straight. So,
all right, can I make you a? I'm not going to make you a promise, but I'm going to share something that I was thinking about the other day. One of my assignments from God is to follow what's going on with the Spygate prosecution.
Oh,
That assignment was given to me in 2016 when this whole thing started. And the reason I started developing a following on Twitter was because I was following the Russia hoax and Devin Nunes exposure of all this back in 2016. And that was an assignment that God gave me. He wanted me to follow it and document it and chronicle all this and explain all the legal stuff that was going on. Well, it has come back around, and I've been having dreams in the last 2 weeks about the DOJ, the FBI, and the Spygate thing. So I haven't posted these dreams publicly. I have a small group of friends where we share our dreams. I had a dream last night where I saw a representation of the DOJ's case against a criminal conspiracy, a criminal syndicate. And in this dream, I saw a graphic representation of the case against this criminal syndicate. And there were, it's an abstract dream. So there were slotted places where people who were put in this horizontal device, they were defendants in this DOJ case against a criminal syndicate. But there were placeholders slotted in between some of the defendants. There were placeholders. There were these round circular discs. And I looked at that, and in the dream, I just that's a placeholder. And there was people with me, and they said, that's not a placeholder. And I said, it sure the heck is. It is absolutely a placeholder. And so I knew they were placeholders, but these other people were like, no, it's not a placeholder. What are you talking about? Now, if you go back to the Q posts, Q still has 2 active placeholder posts on his private board, which is a board that other people cannot comment on. And one of those placeholders has Kevin Kleinsmith as the only name on that placeholder, and there's other slots below it. There are going to be more indictments coming for people like John Brennan, James Comey, Clapper, and other people in the Obama administration. And I'm not going to go further than that, but this is a massive conspiracy. There were a lot of people involved. And I was thinking, to answer your question, I was thinking about maybe doing a live stream once a week to bring people up to date on what's happening with the Spygate prosecution here on Telegram.
That would be great.
I'm thinking about maybe doing that because, like, years ago, I was doing a daily news broadcast back in 2020, around the time of the election. And then we all got suspended and kicked off of Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. It's a massive amount of work to do a news broadcast. It would take me between 4 and 6 hours a day to do a daily news show, with gathering the news, aggregating all of it, fact checking everything, doing the live stream, and then posting it on all the social media and all the correspondence that went with it. It's a very it's a time intensive workflow to do a daily news show, but I'm considering the possibility of doing like a weekly or bi-weekly live stream on Telegram here, where I can bring people up to speed on what's happening with the Russiagate investigation and the prosecution of these people, because we're going to get to a point where there's going to be a dam burst and prosecutions happening. The DOJ is investigating so much. I would not be surprised if Kash Patel reopens the Hillary Clinton email investigation from 2016, and if the FBI reopens the investigation of Hillary Clinton's illegal, unsecured email server, which was being hacked by Russia and China and Iran, where she had special access programs stored on her server, there's going to be a lot of people in a lot of trouble if the FBI reopens that investigation. I don't know that they will, but I had a dream about Kash Patel about a week ago. He was going back through the FBI's timeline on social media, and he was correcting and updating all of these old FBI posts about all of these scandals that had happened over the years. He was going back in time on all of this timeline and updating and correcting all of these posts on social media. So I suspect Kash is going to go back and relook at some of these scandals that were buried by Comey and McCabe and reopen them. And I have a feeling it's going to be just drinking from a fire hose. So, like I said, I appreciate the recommendation that I do a Supernatural Saturday, maybe twice a month. I think I'll keep Supernatural Saturday at once a month. But like I said, I'm looking at maybe doing live streams here on Telegram, maybe weekly or every 2 weeks as the Spygate stuff opens up. And that would be, I'll take hands and we can have questions and people can, ask questions and we can discuss things.
Well, there's a lot of different people on Telegram that, analyze the Q posts and everything else. And it's always good to hear your perspective on things. They're a little bit more grounded. And the Spygate, the Spygate episodes going on right now behind the scenes, I think it would be helpful to all of us for you to keep us, on the ground, so to speak, rather than try and analyze everything.
Yeah, I get it. I feel it too. There are some commentators out there right now who I think are putting out some pretty sketchy information. And I'm trying my best to put out logical, reasonable, grounded information that's not going to set up unreasonable expectations. Because a lot of us were disappointed over the last 8 years, and I don't want that to happen again. So I'm trying to present a really well-grounded conservative view of things, not going out over my skis and not getting ahead of the stories.
And I do have, I did purchase some of your smaller emotional healing books and gave those to friends. Those were nice handouts for people, for them to sit and read. And I just looked at your website today. I couldn't believe all the videos and articles you've added to that. So your website is excellent for me to send people to if they need. And my last question, which I guess, we talked about this, or you talked about this many Super Saturdays ago about the gold. It's like Elon Musk was going to go in and audit the gold, and is it there? And Jerome Powell is $3 billion over budget on his Federal Reserve building.
Okay.
He's making a basement there. Is that true?
Well, I don't know what is being built there on that property. It looked like, I don't know if they're building a basement. They seem to be renovating the existing basement. I don't know the details of what's going on there, other than they've built some very cushy, posh, bourgeois balconies on the top floor, and it's like some of the most high-end fixtures that you can get. They've gone way over budget, and Jerome Powell is a short timer. Either he's out next May, or Trump will replace him. I think that they're trying to get Powell out through a constitutional process, and Powell can be fired for cause. And if the Capitol, I think it's is it the architectural board that Trump has put people on who went there to the Fed building to review the renovations. They can make a recommendation to Trump that Powell be fired for malfeasance, just for doing a poor job. And then Trump can appoint someone to replace him. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I don't have any insider information. I'm not predicting it's going to happen. It wouldn't surprise me if it does. And then we get much lower interest rates pretty quickly, I think, if that happens. But I don't know about the gold. They were going to audit the gold.
Say, where's the gold?
I have no idea. That suddenly just became not a thing anymore. We're not going to do that. Yeah.
Oh, well. Thank
you
so much. Thank you so much for everything.
Yep. My pleasure, Cheryl. Naomi, if you are able to unmute yourself, what is going on? Naomi with the hand up.
Yes. Hi, Dave. Thank you for choosing me. This is my first time talking, so I'm a little nervous, but I just ordered your book, Operating in the Courts of Angels, and my personal story is I have had such a really hard life, and it just seems like nothing ever changes, and I can't seem to move forward. And I'm thinking, well, I need to go to the courtroom, and I need to have them look at my file, and need to have them look in it to see if they can help me break what's this continued process of not being able to move forward. Now, on both sides of my family, there's been a lot of occult activity. There's been heavy witchcraft. There's been masonry. I've been through prayers to get released from that masonry on my mother's side, and the witchcraft on my mother's side and on my father's side. So I've been through deliverance, and like one of your previous callers had said, is where you go through deliverance and you vomit. And I've done a lot of that. I've gone to ministers to lead me, to deliver me, to pray over me. And I mean, I didn't realize how many layers of curses and family bloodline curses that had been over oppressing me, where I had married the wrong men, and it was always negative. Things were always negative, and it just didn't seem to be moving forward. And so I'm at a point in my life where right now I had been fasting and praying for like the last 3 years of my life for my life to change. And my mother died in debt. I moved into her house in 2017, took care of her. I'm still in the same house after I left my ex. And I don't want to live here anymore. I live with an older brother who is not a believer. I want out of this house. I want to move forward. It just seems like I'm stuck no matter what I do. I've done 3 fasts this week. I mean, the Lord has spoken to me. He spoke to me not to get the COVID shot. He directed me to a physician that gave me an exemption. And so I know what it's like to hear the Lord, but I don't know what it is that's just oppressing me, and it's not letting me move forward. And I'm just so frustrated. Now my younger son was able to move out on his own because he literally cried out to God, and God opened the door for him, and he left this house. But I just can't seem to do the same thing. And my son tells me, well, Mom, you need to manifest. You need to think like you're already there, like you're there and you're into the space that you want to be. And so I don't know what to do with just being stuck with my life and having to relive the same thing. My mother was living in the same house. And so that's why I was thinking, well, I need to go to the court. I need to have them look at my case and to review it and to have somebody help me. Do you have any other insights, any other ways that I could just get miracles and a breakthrough and things like that?
Yeah, I might have a suggestion or two.
Okay.
Have you gone through emotional healing?
I have done a little bit. And when your previous caller, I said the prayer and with her, and I wrote it down, and
Okay.
I went
So,
through that.
so hang on. Have you prior to that previous caller who we talked about it, prior to then, have you gone through any period of time where you engaged emotional healing?
Probably not. Probably
Okay.
not.
So that's where you should start. The deliverance ministry is helpful. Breaking curses of witchcraft and Freemasonry and all that stuff is all necessary. But if you have not had your emotional trauma healed, you're going to remain stuck.
Okay.
Because the demons that are going to keep you stuck, they're going to stay there. And once you go through the emotional healing process, it closes the doors to demonic access. They can't get at you anymore. Many times they will self-deport. They will leave. You'll feel something lifting off of you. That's the demons departing. And the reason why I recommend to people do emotional healing is you don't have to go through the vomiting and the shaking and all the other stuff that comes with a dramatic deliverance from evil spirits. The reason why people convulse and vomit and all the other stuff during deliverance is because the demons are trying to hold on to you through the access points that they've gained. And there's this battle going on. But if you go through the emotional healing process, heal the wounds in your soul, you'll remove the access points that the demons have. And most of the time they will leave on their own because they have no place to afflict you any longer. They'll just depart. And if they don't, you can then command them to leave and they'll leave. It's a much easier deliverance process after emotional healing is done.
Okay. Okay.
That's where I would just spend at least a couple hours today. Like I said to the previous caller, let the Holy Spirit bring up to your mind traumatic events from your past, divorce, death of a friend, death of someone, embarrassing situations, humiliating situations, situations where you felt tremendous guilt or shame. All of those events, let the Holy Spirit bring them up, identify the emotion, give it to Jesus, ask him to heal the wound in your soul. And I want to report back from you on how you're doing a week or two from now.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you so much.
You bet, Naomi. Whew. All right. Let's see. All right, New Envies. New Envies, if you can unmute yourself, what's going on?
Good afternoon, sir. I'm calling from Geneva in Switzerland.
In Switzerland.
Yes.
All right.
One of your members kindly sent me a link. I'm very happy to have found you because I did try to figure it out, but sometimes you just don't find it on your own.
Right.
Well, I think he just quit the call, so too bad. I'll just tell him that I was able to talk to you.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask for some of your recommendation. It's my son is like 28, and in the family they had a, before I got married, obviously they didn't tell me, but they had suicidal attempt to their life, like my ex-husband, and then they were all abusing alcohol, and it's like everything like went down to the level of my son, so he's using alcohol to get relief from his very painful situation.
Okay.
And the last year he's a young bright guy that is into politics, and he really is into it on the right wing to help people, whereas the Geneva politics system is all socialist. And
Right.
then since he works for the Geneva government as he purchases equipment for the Geneva government, he's being targeted because he's not on the right political party, if you'd like. They really give us hell. I mean, they give him hell. It's been a whole year. He's under deep depression and under medication, but nevertheless, he still needs alcohol to relieve the pain. And I was just looking for your advice, if you have any, please.
All right. I'm going to give you the same advice I gave the last caller.
Okay.
If your son is willing to go through the process of emotional healing, it will take away those feelings of depression and despair and sadness and hopelessness. Emotional healing will absolutely help him change his life, change his perspective, change his view of himself. And there's a number of ways you can do it. I explained that the process is very simple. It's you think about your past. You identify a time in your life, an event that was very traumatic. You identify the feeling that you feel when you think about it. You take that feeling and give it to Jesus, and you ask Jesus to heal the wound in your soul. And that's the process. It seems very simple, but it's very powerful. You then go back to that memory and recall it again and see if there's still a negative emotion that you feel when you think of it. If there is, you take that emotion, give it to Jesus, ask him to heal the wound in your soul. And then if there's not, like the woman earlier on the call, she recalled this event from her past, and after she gave the sadness to Jesus, she felt peace when she thought about that event. She had probably never felt peace about that before. So what'll happen as you go through the emotional healing process, you'll bring up these events from the past, and as you're healed, when you think of them, you'll feel peace. And he needs to go through that process. It's outlined in my book, Emotional Healing in 3 Easy Steps. There's also videos in the chat on our chat channel. Someone will put in the hashtag healing, and it'll bring up a list of videos. And in there's a video that explains the emotional healing process. Someone can just listen to that video, and it'll take them right through the steps to do it. It's very easy. It's very simple. You can just you could actually walk your son through the process I just told you. It's 3 steps. Identify the negative emotion that you feel when you think about a past event. Identify the emotion, give it to Jesus, ask him to heal a wound in your soul. It's that simple. And it'll change his life.
Thank you very much. I will definitely try it. And I wish all your guys the very best.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
You too. Thank you. Well, it's the night over here.
Have a good evening. Guten Abend. Let's see. That's German, not Swiss. All right. She's gone. All right. That is going to do it for the live stream today. Oh my gosh, we covered a lot of ground. And yeah, I was, riffing there on my own little monologues here and there, but I have things I'd like to communicate to you all. So thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the testimonies. Again, you can find all the resources on prayingmedic.com or prayingmedic.org. Articles, videos, books, classes, all the resources are on prayingmedic.com. If you have a prayer request or a question or a testimony, you can email me through either prayingmedic.com or prayingmedic.org. It's going to do it for today. I'll catch you on the next Saturday of next month. And maybe we'll do a live stream about Spygate in the coming weeks. We'll see what happens. All right. It's going to do it. Love you all. Take care. Catch you on the next broadcast.